What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and what up, guys? We are another awesome, fantastic live stream stock mark Sunday with what's going to be happening next in the overall market. I'm sure that you've seen a bunch of videos on the overall market crash and everything. We'll see how it goes. What up, David? Ryan? How you guys doing? Love my channel. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. Some people don't quite understand technical analysis, or they want to learn, and it's kind of a fun way to kind of look at some really crazy, dumb trades at times to kind of get a better understanding of options and technical analysis. So I hope that makes up Makeshift, Greg B, what's up, Lewis, Matt Gosh, Johnny, brother, what man? We got the OG crew up here. What's up, guys? Thank you everyone for joining. We're gonna get this party started here. Let me just double check something, if sound's coming through just okay, because I'm constantly trying different microphones and different settings, and I have those different filters on top of the microphone you can put on and all that little fancy stuff. So I just want to make sure gonna be what's going on there. Did you hear about Wall Street potentially closing? How do they close? They just going to close the forum on Reddit? You think? I'm hoping for the stocks to come back down to March. That's it's again, anything can happen, but I think that's somewhat unlikely. I could see things going lower if the trend continues going lower, which we'll look at here in a second once we get all the folks up and going here. Because I live and breathe this stuff. I love the markets. I love charting. I love the stocks, and I follow a lot of other different technical indicators and a lot of other folks who do technical analysis. And a lot of them, not saying I'm putting 100% of my weight on them, but these guys are literally managing hedge funds and other various larger assets, and I'm not saying they have a better say or better read on the market, because no one has a crystal ball, but there are signs on both camp, which is both saying up, some are saying down. So this is why I've been kind of sitting on my hands the last week or so, just waiting things out, because it's just this, I don't understand this market honestly with this amount of capitulation. Alright, let's go ahead and let's do a quick market recap. We got quite a few folks on here. I'm just going to take away this. You should be able to see my screen now. Fantastic. Let's go. Someone's saying Ryan, SPY 420. You never know, right? 420 is a little up there, but maybe in 2.5, 3 years we'll hit 420. Maybe 2 years. FB to the rocket ship. I did buy some Facebook. I want to call it the dip. I would call that falling knife, the falling hot knife. And this is not a nice 8-inch chef knife that the Facebook fell. It's one of those jagged edge ones that are just made to cut bread. And there's those really sharp, fine cut, almost like jigsaw cuts. That's what I caught, and it hurt, but it's for the longer run. Alright, so again, let's do this very quick market recap again. The futures did open up. We are actually, surprisingly, somewhat even. We're actually up a little bit now. It's kind of been bouncing back and forth. Initially, with the video that I did, I believe it came out Saturday or Friday when I did it, that for the bear case, or the bull case, we needed to kind of stay above the 200, and that we can break below the 200, but we needed the overall close to be remaining above the 200. As of right now, we're kind of seeing, again, the volume right now is lackluster. You can see here it's basically a very small percentage, and I don't know why this is flicking, because it's updating with the overall volume here. Again, volume and oscillator and RSI are just really much flat. Again, I'm more of an optimistic person, so I kind of want to, I don't believe the world's going to end, and then people who really just focus on constantly the world ending, you're going to be losing more money than the market. The stock market's designed to go higher. Okay, it's not decide to take everyone's money away and continue going lower. It's to create wealth. I'm doing air quotes there. Again, looking at the technicals here, we got to kind of stay above the 200-day here, with the 50 crossing through the 200, which is a really great sign as well. But they also, in the short term, which we kind of talked about as well, is the 5 and 8 are kind of crossing through the 21. This can happen again. This is just going to shake out a lot of those potential weak hands who again trade on a very short time period and who haven't traded very much. It's kind of like a shake to get out those users who are not in it to win it kind of scenario potentially. And yeah, so with those 5 and 8 kind of coming through the 21, the 34 kind of just failed. Again, we're really looking for to kind of hold the 29.71 there. For the bear case, you kind of want things to kind of go the other direction. You want the 5 and 8 to kind of continue with the 21, start crossing through the 34, and start closing below the 200-day exponential moving average on the daily chart. We can kind of look at this at nearly a 4-hour chart here. Kind of what's going on here in the market, a short time frame. Again, this is a marker I put in the sand on. If this breaks in the overnight market, we could be seeing some lower prices. And this is a marker that I put out, I think it was Friday. Like I needed that to continue going, to hold in place in that short term. Really needs to hold around 29.23, which is fairly far down. Again, that was the low that we had previously about 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, from that really other downturn. I don't think this is a very drastic downturn to what we're currently seeing. I think this was just like a reshuffling of everything. But again, you have to be mindful that it's going to be coming the end of the month, which is actually on Tuesday after the close is the end of the month, and you might see some consolidation there. So like a Monday, Tuesday could be a nice buying opportunity on some favorite stocks that you've been having your eye on, and kind of like looking through the glass and like, remember back in the day 4 months ago when you walked past a retail store and you saw that nice watch or that nice electronic product or that awesome drone you wanted or that cool car. You just kind of look through the glass. You're like, yeah, one day when the price is right. That's the day, right? I don't know. I'm kind of going off tangents on a lot of things here. I'm sorry. All right, let's go look at some tickers, boys. Let's go ahead, of course, talk about Facebook first. Facebook. That's that knife that we're talking about. That's that really sharp knife, that hot knife that's coming right through your hands. Just imagine trying to stick your hands out and catching up both knives and just cutting your knuckles. Ooh, that stings. There's lemon juice on that knife too, just an FYI. Maybe some sriracha hot sauce or something too, so to kind of add that flavoring there. Greg B, can you look at SPLK? Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll do Facebook and then I'll start going through some tickers here. It looks like the chat has already been kicking off and folks are just throwing a bunch of tickers up. I will go through for sure. Ryan, I'm not a boomer. Get out of here. I act like a boomer, don't I? I'm 32. I'm a millennial. Ryan, come on, man. Killing me here. Ken's a boomer. Anyways, I love you. So the 5 and 8, again, this has been aggressive downside. This is, again, to do the overall looking at... I'm sorry, I'm still laughing at being called a boomer. That made my night. Thank you. With the Facebook kind of, again, failing, this is, again, a lot to do to a lot of huge Fortune 250s companies that are kind of pulling their ads off Facebook due to some things that kind of got past their algorithm. We've heard this story how many times now with between election campaign videos to now this kind of stuff, so we'll see on what goes from there. What's up, Anthony? Thanks for joining, my friend. I loved your live stream. Always really cool to kind of understand on what people are doing on the other side of the ball on the fundamentals and dividend side. That being said, so again, it really just came down to the 50-day, and those are basically on the daily chart. Those are your value investors. So that literally came down here. A boomer heart and a millennial. uh, Millennials. We are the future, right? And the future's bright. That being said, again, we're coming down to the Facebook here, the 50-day. Again, things could continue going to the downside just in the fact of, again, this is a very steep red candle, and a lot of things happen Friday that could continue going into Monday, Tuesday again. Again, looking really to kind of hold the 215 level. Again, potentially could see the 200 level. Again, anything can happen, but with the overall market, we'll see on how everything goes from there. I would love to see that back above like the 225 to kind of go back higher. All right, let's go ahead and let's start looking at some charts here. I'm going to start with Greg. Ryan, you said bank stocks not doing well. Yeah, because they had that overall stress test, I think, last week, and a lot of them really didn't perform very well, and I think Goldman Sachs did one of the worst, if I remember. That's what the article I read about. Greg B, SPLK. Yoicks, some splunks. I want to do a quick fib on. Did I do this one last week? I feel like I did. I don't know why my chart didn't save. Yeah. So like the 127 is basically the initial first price target here. What we're looking at here. But so you can also see down here, there's no earnings in the upcoming agenda here, as well as with the squeeze has just fired long, which you kind of see that propulsion here, up 2% on Friday. Great little news there. Potential. With the RSI pulling higher, volume oscillator also pulling higher. Again, kind of going with the overall market, this could get up in the short or the medium term to around $223 or $223. That is quite of a stretch from where we're currently at. Again, with no earnings, this could be kind of a somewhat So we're $223, so we're looking at basically plus or minus $22, so probably in August we could be seeing that. Again, what I did there was just looking at what the market makers were looking for the range of the price target. Again, we could hit this tomorrow if they come out and they say they have a vaccine for the virus. I don't know how Splunk would do that, but who knows? They can pull out of there, you know what, and again, they could probably be well past that. Just be mindful again that you did kind of see this overhead somewhat blockade-ish over here at 195 to kind of break through it, but it kind of broke through it Friday and closed above it, which is a great sign. With the 5 and 8 really being a strong momentum, potentially if it comes back down to 21, it could be a buy if you're interested in that for the short to medium term there. If you want to be a little bit more longer term on it, you're going to be looking on the 34, even potentially the 50 there. So hopefully that helped you there, Greg B. Make sure player. I've been adding to my cash reserve instead of stocks. Hopefully, we'll get another bottom. Yeah, I know a lot of people who their cash is expanding. Kobe. Let's see here. What the heck? Who did I just do? Kobe BA. Let's look at BA. Yeah. So did I read an article? Let's do a podcast. I can't remember. So they're saying that I read multiple articles actually on BA the last week regarding that they can get their Max 8 certification soon, and that was the good news. But then the bad news I also read just the other day was that they are potentially they did a research piece or something, a university in Washington. I remember. Again, I'm horrible with memory. But they did a research piece saying that potential returning people for business travel and just overall travel on airlines is going to be down 25 to 30% across the board until like 2022, 2021, the midsummer of 2021. I don't know how they're able to tell the future, but I guess they're just asking grandma and grandpa getting off the airplane now. I don't know. Again, I'm not sure how they pick up that research. I wouldn't put too much weight into that when people are projecting out. People said that all the large sea turtles are going to be dead by 2021 or by 2019, but they're still sea turtles. Like things manufactured, I don't know. Things just don't seem as doom and gloom all the time. So be mindful of that. Again, I'm going off on a lot of tangents here. I do apologize. That must be the boomer in me, right, Ryan? Just talking about the back of the war. Anyways, with BA, we are kind of seeing the same pattern that we're all basically seeing in the overall market. So the 5 and 8 are actually trying to cross the 21. The 34 is really kind of coming in for some support here. So again, depending on where your risk aversion is and what you're looking at potentially for your trade, so the 5 and 8 continue going down and it breaks below the 165, we could be seeing that 50-day. That 50-day is going to be pretty key due to a lot of the value investors, aka the boomers, could be adding it to this position here potentially. For the that bull case, we want to really kind of hold that 34 and start grinding higher, start seeing the 5 and 8 start crossing higher as well. Since the parabolic SAR is still on top here, and that's quite a far ways off, we're talking about $220, we really need a lot of momentum to kind of push through that with the volume oscillator start to kind of get above zero would really help with that movement. And hope that was helpful, my friend. I have Facebook calls as well, my friend. Don't feel the pain. I have a massive put options on FB and Macy's. M is Macy's, right? What are they up to? Oh, why didn't I type? Ugh, yeah. Like again, this sounds crazy. I was trying to go just pick up something at the store today. I went to the bakery to get my favorite pastries and stuff because boomers like to do that, Ryan. And there was the retail stores were open, but there was no one going there. And again, if you're not online, I think you're just not going to be able to survive. With Macy's, basically their huge flagship store on, I believe it's one of the avenues in New York. It's like an 11-story colossal building full of clothes, and actually got a fantastic restaurant on the 11th or 12th floor. It's like an Italian-themed restaurant. If you're next time in New York, try that place up and let them know that Ken sent you, and then you're not going to get any discount. Again, with Macy's there, with the 5 and 8 kind of crossing through here as well, this thing is in a wholly different boat. Again, we have earnings on the horizon, so I really don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. Just be mindful of that because there's going to be a lot of movement in that. I know Ken's famous words are, I don't know what the company does, and I'm sorry I don't trade penny stocks, my friend. That looks like, or isn't, okay, both those are stocks that can be found YouTube as well. Yeah, I don't usually like to follow those kind of things. Sorry, my friend. Good to be here. Thoughts on Gap? Could be something very similar to Spots Run. Acquiring Kanye West fashion brand, a brand that made him billions. Really? Kanye West is selling his stuff at the Gap? Let's take a look at that. And that's a rumor for sure. Like, I never heard. I think I would have seen that pop on my radar. Is it GAP? Is Gap? A GPS, sorry. That makes no sense. Okay. Well, I guess they can't get the Gap symbol. I guess that's what happened on Friday. That little rumor there. So I guess this is what happened here. There is a squeeze indicating here, but again, that 200-day exponential moving average is really going to be a lot of downward pressure here. This is really going to kind of keep the stock underwater in the sense of lack of that terminology. Even since prior to this overall virus and pandemic and everything, it never really broke above the 200-day as well. That being said, if they're trying new things and trying to get Kanye West and his brand, which I'm not too familiar with any fashion at all, that would be a great deal for sure. Like, that could be a monstrous deal. Looks like that kind of already took place, if I'm right, JT. That really, that's what kind of, there's no earnings here, so this literally looks like a news kind of gapping thing, which again is tied to that Kanye West thing. Lord, what do you think about Big? Is that Big Lots? I think I did that like a week or two ago. Whew, that's a nice meatball there. So this one for sure. I guess what happened on Friday? Did like some retail stuff came out or something? Because this is strange. Again, is this just because that some people just think the virus is canceled? This is really strange kind of pattern here. Definitely something like news related, for sure. So this being said, again, this stock was $10 at the low here with the virus and just made a huge grind up higher. Kind of traded sideways. I honestly kind of like it. Like I kind of like this pattern here where it really kind of held the 21 and 34 and then really just popped off. Again, really indicating with that squeeze here, really took off. It's sad that I really can't say I can buy it right now just because of that, but we can kind of look at some fibs here, very short-term fibs. This is not like an investing threshold again. Like you can't make this stuff up. Again, from the previous swing high to low, it hit that 1272 like a dart in the middle of the dartboard. It looked like it just landed right on the helipad. Failed here at the 127, which it's considered the first initial price target for that, and it just failed there. It's still above the 100% move, which are on 42. If it stays above 40, this potentially could kind of trade sideways. Since this huge gap up, again, I don't know the reason why. I don't have any inclination why, but it kind of needs the moving averages to kind of catch up there. But if you're in it, man, that was a great move there. If you're long. If you're short, that sucked. Lewis, thoughts on FSL? Let me type, make sure I think of it. Yeah, FSLLY. Oh, Fastly. Yeah, I see this thing coming up a lot. This thing again. I think we talked about this last week, if I'm not right, Lewis, or maybe the week before. It's just been holding that 5 and 8 exponential moving average. It's just been doing really great. The thing is like concerning is this momentum can't really keep up. And just be mindful of that. That momentum, I'm not going to say it's going to fail and run out. It just kind of needs to slow down. Because this is a sprint up a hill at like 89 degrees. You can't sprint up a hill 89 degrees for that long. And even though, yes, it's kind of got some mojo behind it and everything, the RSI is really high. Let's kind of look this on a weekly chart here. Again, it's a monthly. Yeah, this thing has just been running hot. Like it's beautiful. It really is. If you're in it, you just got to keep on riding it. But if it starts breaking below the 73, which is around wherever the 8 kind of exponential moving average kind of comes in, you got to start trimming it. And if you have a huge profit in it, you really need to start cutting it. If it's getting below that, I can't recommend to get in it on all-time highs on a Friday. But that's a great looking stock there. Kobe, we did BA, my friend. Coolest dad ever. What's up, dude? Any thoughts on purchasing U.S. oil? I think it's gonna be time to buy. I don't know much about commodities, honestly. I can look at the chart. How is DK puts working to you? DK, that thing is DraftKings. It's been painful. I think they what happened to them? They failed their some kind of filing or something. They were going to get some kind of legal precedence in some states, and that failed, and it just kind of went kaput from there. Really just kind of falling out of favor. The sad thing is this really did, I was actually I wouldn't say long this. I kind of bought here on the 21, which it kind of slightly went above the closed above the RSI, kind of bought here for potential swing around. Because I saw the squeeze indicating here. I actually was trading this on a 4-hour chart to kind of give me some more depth. So basically, kind of when I had this, that would have been Tuesday, right about here, I believe it was, kind of with the squeeze setting up here, kind of for a rebound. It kind of rode up a little bit, but then it just really took a dump on me, and I didn't like that, and I had to cut it for a pretty substantial loss. Not substantial enough for it, again, to follow my rules, but it's just not fun when you lose money, but it's part of the game. That being said, I'd be mindful of that on this chart because, again, this thing is really just trending between the 5 and 8 going down. So 27 could be in the mix, but that's quite a far distance down from where we're looking at. I think some volume will kind of come in, and 30 would be kind of somewhat of a level there for you. Oh, who just sent me? Alan, what's up, man? Thank you for the $5. PEG, your thoughts on it, please. It's NG Utility has paid dividend for 100 years, and this one's long-term hold. Wow. So that's been around for a minute, eh? Let's go ahead and look at that, then we go back to the chat. Thank you, my friend. PEG. So since you're saying it's a long-term hold, we're actually going to switch this to a weekly hold if it's a long-term hold. As you can see, like this, yeah, you can definitely tell this has been a nice little like easy trender. Again, looking here on the weekly chart, this is 3 years. It's really kind of been hugging the 34 and 50. So each time it kind of gets around those levels, it's just a buying opportunity. It looks fairly strong. But that being said, we're seeing some overhead resistance around 51 to 52 with this 200-day exponential moving average on the weekly side again. I kind of failed here multiple times trying to climb higher. The indications of this kind of looks just very choppy here. The parabolic SAR are starting to print higher, which kind of could catch up and kind of give this some upward momentum and kind of give it the kangaroo, a lack of a better words, as you can point out from a lot of charts, kind of kangaroo higher into kind of staying above that 200-day exponential moving average. You really can see a really defined, somewhat of a, don't like to draw these little imaginary lines, kind of a trend line here. It's just kind of been riding this up. It's a steep line, but it's kind of going to have to kind of come into fruition here soon to kind of ride this up a little bit. Considering being mindful if it starts breaking below 47, potentially even to like the 45, we could see some consolidation there. Because again, if you're saying that this paid a dividend for 100 plus years, people are not just going to dump this overnight. Again, paying 50 cents dividend on a $47 stock, like, I kind of want to look at this at a longer term. Let's look at it on a monthly side. Yeah, so I was going to say if it came down to the 200-day, that's just basically a buy, and that's what kind of happened here. Again, not saying 08, 09 was the same thing what happened now, but that being said, it's kind of just traded sideways for quite a long period of time, and it literally took years to kind of consolidate back. Not saying this could take years, but this will take some consolidation, probably around the 48 to 55 level for some time. Best dad ever, $2. What's up, man? Thumbs up, thumbs higher to you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Let's go ahead and scroll back higher. I always forget. I emailed YouTube. I was like, you need to help me with my chat, man. My chat just puts out so many questions I can't keep up with them. Okay, looks like there's a lot of stuff going on. We did Facebook. Yep. Ryan, AMD calls. Yeah, I love AMD. I love me with some AMD. Let's go bring this back. But AMD has just been on like this really strange, like we did this little box here last week on what it's trading at. Like it's in its lower part of this box again. We've seen this before. It's kind of, I would call this a triple bottom, but this is kind of just really much looking at really shaking up people who are trying to hold this. And it's really kind of concerning me a little bit. I don't see anything fundamentally wrong with AMD. I try to understand why people are getting out of it, or the people are just trying to get into NVIDIA. A lot of people want to get into NVIDIA because they think it's better. I don't like. Each his own, but AMD is really lagging compared to a lot of these other companies, and I really needed to print higher. Honestly, it's been in a squeeze for such a long time. The RSI is kind of slowly going down, which is it's kind of concerning. Again, it's going to be a lot to tell within the next 2 or 3 weeks where this could be going. Again, around $50 is going to have to be if it starts closing below 50. I'm going to have to reconsider my overall position and trim it back I don't like to add on falling knives. I like to kind of see it fall down and kind of consolidate a little bit, and then I'll add that little bit portion that I took off back into the position. But with this one, it's really going to come down to if it starts breaking below 50, be mindful of that. It could be just trading sideways here. It has in the past kind of traded in and around the 50 and bounced back, even with really steep declines after a pretty good quarter. Having another steep decline here, and this is another steep decline as we can see here. Again, my bet is, my opinion on it is it's going to hold hopefully around the 50. Again, I like to use the word hopefully. It's my plan, my written plan is if it starts breaking below 50, I have to cut nearly 50% of my position out of it and potentially add it back down if it's to 45. That's on the daily chart though. Let's go. I don't think futures aren't trading them. Yeah, futures can drive you crazy. Whoever said that, yeah. I can't stare at the screen too much because it just it feels like it's too much of a too much movement and too much emotions behind it because I'm a very emotional person. I watched UFC last night and it sucked without a crowd. It tuned it off. Oh, they had is that what the Fight Island best dad? Oh, coolest dad? Yeah, that's because they didn't what's his name? Dana White buy this island and just had all the people fly them out there, tested everyone, all their coaches and everything, and they just it's kind of that would have been interesting to see. They could have just added like fake background noise like they do in the movies. Yeah, you never know. Puts on Joe Biden. You actually could bet on the elections. You know that, right? You can bet on the elections. Bet on US. I'm trying to figure. I had it in my notes here. I'm trying to type it up. I think it's called something. I can't find it right now. There's like two firms that allow you to bet on them. There's like two different websites that you can do that. Facts. Earl Charles, how old are you, Ken? I am 32 years young, and I'm not a boomer. I feel like that I have my place. Puts in this week. Yeah, again, I think with the overall market, we'll need to see Monday, Tuesday kind of really flush things out and kind of see how things. Oil looks bad short term. Chesapeake failed for Chapter 11 today. Yeah, I did see that, Greg B. We can look at oil futures. Kind of gives you the /CL, I believe. Actually, it doesn't look that bad. So it's kind of in a squeeze here with the volume oscillator and RSI kind of flat. If it still holds 37, this could potentially try to break above 41. This looks like some consolidation coming in. Again, it's a commodity, so it's completely tied to what the overall economy is doing. If the people are driving some more, which a lot of people are saying they're using the Apple data and Google data. More people are looking at maps and putting in routes, so that gives an indication of more people driving. All these things, people are going out again. I think a lot of people have said that a lot of people with the virus has just been canceled. So again, the 21 is going to be your key line there. Again, I'm not a fan of trading this commodity, but we'll see on what happens. It's a nice thing to watch as well. It's really levered to the overall economy. Makeshift player OKE. Did we look at that before? That sounds familiar. No, I don't know. Ooh, I don't like this actually. It looks like something. Yeah, there's nothing really much holding this down. Let's kind of look at this. Potentially 25. Yeah, 26 to 25 could be potential some support. Again, with the overall trend looking like it's kind of going lower because it hasn't really broken above the 5 here on the daily chart. So just be very mindful of that. Potentially downside still coming with the parabolic SAR below. The volume oscillator has not really broken above 0 in about a week or so. So that's not a really good indication, and the RSI is kind of trending lower as well. So be mindful of that. You want the bull case, you're going to start needing to see a break above the 5 and try to get back around the 21 there. Roku. Yeah, we can look at Roku. So Roku was one that we had in our overall portfolio as well. In the short term, like even like this, the short term, we actually had it for a little bit longer. This little run up here was fantastic, but then it starts getting like rocked back and forth and things like that. I just kind of got shooked out, and I've been kind of sold some puts around it and things like that. But it's kind of rebounded here again from this low here. Again, looking at here the daily chart, that 200-day is really important here actually on the Roku chart, because it kind of broke below that and tried to get above it multiple times and really failed until it had a really nice push higher again with the help from the squeeze, the volume oscillator kind of coming in here, and the RSI just really pushing it through, and now kind of getting above that 200-day. It's been performing very well since up there. That being said, the past week it's just kind of been trading sideways. The parabolic SAR has switched to the top again, but we've seen this pattern before, so potentially looking for if it's going down to around 118 to potentially 115. Again, those are going to be some pretty large ranges, but again, this thing has just been oscillating back and forth there. With again trying to fail here at the 134 multiple times here in the short to immediate term since this overall pandemic. So be mindful of that. There isn't any earnings coming up. There's no squeeze indication. It just looks like we can just be trading sideways there. So be mindful of that. Unless, again, they come out with everyone gets a free TV and everything just goes to the moon. Alex IPI. What is that? This is a penny stock. IPHI. Oh. What is that? Ooh, this is a nice one. What is this, dude? Think fast and I don't know what this is. I like it. This looks like a really good. I like this. It had a beautiful recovery again. This has must to do with the internet space or something. Kind of traded up here, now trading sideways. I really like this pattern. I'm actually going to add it to my list, my friend. IPHI. This is my long maybe buy list. Again, with that first indication of the squeeze, we have a lot of volume coming in here. I'm not sure what happened here or what this company does, but I'll look into it. That being said, this volume is a pretty large indication. Looks like with a large amount of volume coming in, really didn't do much, which is kind of good. And it could be potentially blasting off here, potentially trying to get above 120 to 125. To the downside, it really is basically support here around 107 here. You kind of see a lot of lows there, kind of falling around the 50-day. Again, after that, it kind of can go to this gap here around 101 to 100 there. I would be interested to find out what that company does, though. That's you're long on them as well. AI Data Cloud Tech. Okay, interesting. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's a good chart. Look at chart. Kelly D, what's up, my friend? Thanks for joining the Discord. That is the Kelly D that I'm thinking about. What's your thoughts on MU earnings tomorrow afternoon? Long-term, long stock. MU is Advanced Micro, right? Oh no, okay. Earnings tomorrow. Ooh, yeah. Again, so I think you know Kelly D, I don't like to usually flip a coin on earnings because anything can happen. Long term, I think you would be just fine with this one. But again, it's still in like the semiconductor space, and those that are kind of been somewhat under pressure due to manufacturing and then the overall cycle of what's really needed in the overall economy and kind of waiting for those numbers to start being boosted up. With this stock, what really prints to me here on the daily side is that 200-day exponential moving average. This has come down to the 200-day, kind of bounced around, has broken through it, kind of had problems getting above it here multiple times, finally getting above it, looking fairly strong depending on what the quarter says. We can kind of look here on what the movement could be this week is up plus or minus $3.70. Let's just call it $4 because I can't do math in my head very well. So $4, and we're trading around, call it 49. So it would be around to $45, which is basically kind of put it way over here-ish. But again, that's the market maker's potential move. Again, things could be said, it can go the other direction, so we could be looking at around 52 plus to 53 here as well. So this is quite a long range. Again, just be mindful of that. For me, let's go look at it. You said it's a long term, so we can look at the weekly side. Yeah, weekly side, if it comes down to like the 40 level, it looks like it's been a really long, or it's been probably difficult to buy when it hits the 200-day, but it has worked out 3 of the last times here on the 3-year chart here for some potential, just kind of some rebounding. Again, it's not going to completely touch the 200-day exponential moving average and then kind of just magically go higher. It needs to shake out those weak hands. You just have to have the fortitude to kind of be like, okay, the 200-day has worked in the past, unless they say that their new semiconductor parts create purple spots on people's eyes, and they lose their hair on the left side of their head, then you'll be in trouble. But I don't think they're going to report that, or at least I don't hope that. Was that a good explanation, Kelly D? Have you ever heard of Moo? It's a new brokerage, I think, and it's nobody in Wall Street that's ever heard of it. But I have found a good amount of reviews on it. It's based in California. I've never heard of that. What is Moo? It's a brokerage firm? I'll look at that after the stream, my friend. I wonder what the odds are Vegas never loses. I think Vegas loses a lot. It's the person who's the middleman placing the bet. He doesn't lose, but the people betting always lose. I have a call options on Andrew Yang. Yeah, sadly he got kicked to the side. Did you do AVGO yet? No, we haven't. We can go look at that. Let's see here. I just lost it. Who was it? Was it Rock? Let's do AVGO. Yeah, so this is Broadcom. Again, this thing's just kind of been holding the pattern, kind of just trading sideways, really trying to look like it's trying to break out potentially. It's really been holding the 21 here, which is kind of scary at times. If it starts breaking below 303, potentially getting down to like the 295 there, that's the bear case. For the bull case, we can be trading sideways and try to get above the 315 level to kind of get these parabolic SARs to the bottom of the ticks and the wicks to kind of continue riding higher. It looks like it had a fairly good quarter, then dropped down. The 21 kind of coming in for support. The 21 in the last 3 or 4 months has been support for a lot of stocks, so that's why I'm kind of gauging it here as well with the 21. Again, no earnings on the horizon, so again, if some kind of news pops or something bad happens, that could draw it down to the 34 or to even to the 200. We do see that the 50-day has passed it to the 200, which is also a good sign for some potential higher prices and kind of giving some of these more especially moving averages some ground to stand on if it does come down. I'm buying oil tanker stocks though. Alex, I'd be careful with oil tankers, my friend. That's all I gotta say. Daniel 302 call 929. Is that? I'm guessing that's on the SPY. I think, again, I don't know what the market's going to do tomorrow, but I think J-Pal will come in and help us maybe a little bit. Yeah, okay, you did say SPY. Let's see. The futures are green. Yes, they are. Ryan with his favorite emoji, the rocket ship to 420. I'm going to buy out of the money call on GAP tomorrow. Be careful with that fish. It's GAP. Is that talking about gaps? Is that GPS? or GAP another stock? Being deep out of the money call could be cumbersome in the sense of that delta is so small, so the stock really has to move to get that momentum going, unless you give yourself a lot of time. Johnny Bravo, how about COOR? It's a beat up, bad. Hope by the dip. Crowd comes in. Let's look at that one. I never heard of COR. Maybe I have actually. Maybe I didn't. I don't know what this does. Trust. Yeah, it's hitting an all-time low. I really don't want to touch that. I'm sorry, Johnny. That's a negative Ghost Rider. Greg B, how is EA looking? EA, is that Electronic Arts? Did they announce something? I don't know if you guys play video games, but Ryan, that's to you. I love video games, and that new Star Wars Rogue Squadron, I got mixed feelings on that one. That looks a little strange. Looking for like a Battlefield 2 remake would be fantastic from them. Love that game. Anywho, EA has been really strong again with the overall stay-at-home economy and people just staying at home, twiddling their fingers and playing video games and eating Doritos and pizza rolls in their basement from their mommies, and then going to Wall Street Bets and Robinhood on opening up their $500 trading accounts and YOLOing AAL calls and CCL calls for the long run. This is I'm just joking. Sorry, my satire. With EA here, looking really strong here, kind of just trading sideways here again, has had a pretty large sprint up. Again, this 21 days kind of came in here more than 34 to kind of this downward momentum to stop. It's really just kind of taking a little breath here. I have a price target at the 135, 134 here to kind of break higher. But again, that momentum needs to really kind of kick in. The RSI is slightly extended here. Nothing over crazy yet. On the weekly side, I kind of wanted to show you this here. I did this the other day. That 618, it cleared it. This is where I got that 134, 130. I call it 134. 50 to 135 potentially. Starts breaking above that. That's going to be that really 78.8 percentile move in the Fibonacci retracement on the weekly side, and could potentially try another test to around 150 to the near term again. They really need those really good games coming out again. With sports being closed, a lot of people have been turning to a lot of the EA franchises with FIFA and Madden and things like that. So I think they're going to continue going higher. Wesley, thoughts on silver? I know I can look at the chart, but I traded this. What is the symbol for silver? Is that forward SL? Maybe I don't know what silver is then. Thought I knew what silver was. Thought I had it on here. I think silver is around like $16, $17. I did buy some. I sold some puts on it, but nothing too crazy. This is a very small trade. Yeah, I don't know what silver is. I'm sorry. I bought it through another ETF. I don't know what it was. Let's see here. Oh, my chat just went there. Let's see here. Johnny Bravo, tickets covered in order so far. Thank you, Johnny. My gosh. So everyone give a round of applause for Johnny kind of going through all the stocks we kind of covered today already. Thank you very much. Yeah, we can look at Alex LMT. Is that Lockheed? Yeah. Lockheed. So, again, this is going to be, I'm not 100% sure on how much money they make and what division, but a lot of it's going to be military spending, if I believe, right, or government spending. With, again, the Fibonacci retracements here, we can do swing high to swing low. It has it's around its 50% retracement, so we could be kind of seeing a potential, not doing a bottom word, but a potential to start leveling off again. That's from the previous swing high to low on the daily chart around the 354 for some potential support again down to that level there. Potentially start. We really want to see that 5 and 8 exponential moving average just stop going down as drastically at that angle and start seeing it kind of curl up and start seeing these ticks get above the 5 and 8 there in the short to intermediate term. If this continues, we can clearly continue going down again to the next price range around 333. Potentially, if that continues, can go there as well. Again, not too familiar with their fundamentals of Lockheed Martin, but yeah, the chart needs to kind of correct here and kind of hold around that 350 price target there, my friend. Dog Nikola. Yeah, we did Nikola, so we kind of did Nikola. If you just watched my, but this did that wrong. I kind of see that this can just be. Again, they're having their. Sorry, take some water. So they're having their reservations come out. I believe tomorrow. So it's on Monday. Again, no one has seen this truck. No one's really kind of driven this truck. There hasn't been really a demo about it or any kind of thing. So the video I kind of made was like I was just trying to understand on what individual would buy something that hasn't really got their hands on, not really seen a demo on, nothing like that. Like it's kind of like the sales thing 101 of like you kind of have to sell them on something rather than some renders. I guess it lets people have buku money and that they just want to give away and kind of wait for a while to get that. I don't know. Like I just find it kind of strange, but we'll see what happens with the stock. I kind of needed to I have these pretty large barriers here to kind of trade it and give it some range. I'm currently not in it. If it's breaking through the 21 around 58, it could be going down pretty fast due to a lot of these investors kind of getting scared and not having diamond hands like some folks, and this could really start crashing down again. They do also have a lot of people potentially selling their shares, and these are like hedge funds and portfolios and early investors could be getting out within the next week or months with looking at the what is it called? The S1 filings. I think it's called S1 filing. I don't know the paperwork. Whatever the S1 filings where people have to divulge if they have a large stake in the company, they have to get out of their shares and so forth. We could see some potential downside. Again, I think this can probably break above $80. Since the parabolic arch has switched, it did fall nearly 11% just Friday on just people being negative about it. I wish them the best, I really do, but I remember I already have a pretty large stake in Tesla, and I think they're the overall future. So, Netflix calls. Okay. What is? Oh, sorry. You said Netflix? Hold on, I'm drawing a little brain fart here. Do I even have? Yeah, I have it right here. Yeah, that's it got killed again on Friday as well with a lot of other companies. People just kind of getting out of the market leaders there a little bit, even with Apple really coming down. Again, it's holding that 21 pretty well. We've seen this in the past. Potentially, with this really large downside move that we've seen here, potentially could be coming down lower to around the 437 potentially. Because again, this candle, you just don't completely come back. We could trade in the early morning hour session, potentially around the 34, but I think then buyers will start coming in and this can start riding up. Again, this thing has just been a beast due to the overall virus and everything, and I think they're still making pretty good content. I still have a subscription to it. The kiddo loves it, the missus love it, so yeah, I think it's a continuous. I'm optimistic on it, and Reed Hastings, the CEO, is really cool. Kelly D. Starbucks. Yeah, we can look at Starbucks. they got some flack and some news too, right? They were doing something with the protesters or something. I kind of want to extend this bar out here, this little box. Kind of having, as you can see, that this is what we did on last week's. Let me actually get rid of this box. We kind of did these little imaginary lines. We're talking about this could potentially go higher or lower, but it's going to have a pretty substantial break either way. And again, had that break lower. So really kind of have to nix out this trend line and kind of put this one back into play here, which is basically here. We can make it a little bit thicker. Let's do like a 4. It's going to be a really thick line to kind of let you know what we're doing here. That momentum is still going lower again. You can really see that between the 5 and 8 exponential moving average, kind of just slowly grinding higher. The momentum hasn't changed here as well. There's volume coming in here, but the volume oscillator hasn't really gone positive yet for that momentum kick higher. So I think we can potentially just continue kind of trading lower, kind of bumping against this little guardrail on the way down. WS, what is it? Dart Vader? What's up, dude? Morning. Where are you from? SWKS. I don't know what that is. Oh, Skyward. Okay. So this is the thing that's tied to Apple, right? Interesting. You can see again another like a wedge pattern kind of forming here. Do you see it? Look, kind of like right here. So that being said, and that's a terrible line. Again, you could draw these make-believe lines all you want. It just kind of be somewhat of a reference point. Again, the momentum is going down. RSI is somewhat stagnant. Looks like the volume oscillator is trying to go negative as well. Again, since that Friday, we had a really tough day, and the market was down overall in a lot of different markets. It kind of dragged a lot of things down. This thing has kind of it's been a monster over since the bottom here, and now it's kind of just taking a break. I think that this can kind of hold this 21 here, potentially come down to the 34 if it does get the overall market gets negative, but it could kind of kick higher to potentially try to get to those all-time highs again. Francisco, hey, I am a Brazilian economics student with a very smart portfolio, 1K US. What do you think about market maybe taking a second dip in the following weeks? I doubled my money on the first dip. Yeah, I wouldn't bet. Again, thank you from Brazil. I love that country. I've never been there, but I people that I work with, a lot of them are from Brazil. Really great fun things there. I've learned a lot about your culture. Anyways, sorry, getting off a tangent again. Buying at the dip, you have to be very mindful of that. No one knows when the complete bottom is in the market. If you did, you would be a billionaire. You would have to just do that a couple times, and then you would be a billionaire. Be mindful of that. Again, things are somewhat kind of heavy right now, but again, I don't think what happened on Friday is a market sell-off or a correction. It was kind of like a readjusting of things, kind of getting out some weak hands. We're kind of taking a break in the overall market for a potential kick higher. So just be mindful of that. Take that with a grain of salt, and I hope you the best economics student from Brazil, San Francisco. Yep, Star Wars, Greg B. Sydney, thank you. $5. MO held since 2011. Whoa, nice. MO, let's look at MO. So you held it for that long. So let's actually look at a monthly chart. So you bought it anywhere from like what 20 to 25ish potentially, and held it all the way to 70. Ooh. So I think this chart, it kind of sums up what we could be looking at here. Again, kind of made a reverse V, lack of a better word. So I don't know if people know this. So if you have Thinkorswim open, and if you put the a negative symbol or minus symbol below on the other side, it flips the chart around. So it kind of gives you the inverse. So looking at the inverse here for you, my friend, this looks like a V-shape bottom and kind of hitting that 200-day there as well. So this is kind of confusing me, kind of being the upside down world. Go back to MO. Really looking for some support here around the 200-day exponential moving average. I'm not 100% sure what this company does, but that being said, that around the 38 price target, it really has kind of fallen even before this pandemic since 2017. So I don't know exactly what happened fundamentally. It looks like they're still paying a pretty healthy dividend and raising it. Being mindful of that, but this doesn't look anything too concerning. We start getting below here. Again, these moving averages in the very long term since 2017 has been consistently going down and have failed around the 21 and 34, around the 21 multiple times basically here in the last couple of years, and has not really broken above the 47 price target. So I hope that was helpful for you. Again, being mindful again that the 200-day here on the monthly side looks fairly strong. Again, not 100% sure what this company does for business. The volume oscillator is kind of really blah. It's kind of hard to do that on a monthly side. RSI is not really printing at the oversold sign there, so be mindful of that. Be very careful. It's just kind of been really flat. Again, it hasn't been the best performer even before the pandemic, so we'll see what happens there. So hopefully that was helpful. Thanks for the $5. Johnny Bravo, thank you again for keeping things up to date. J. Tyler, WM, yes. So WM, we can actually look at this one. WM is waste management. So this is one of, did you say W? You said IWM. Okay. Anyways, we'll look at waste management as well, because that's one of my stocks. Waste management, been a long-term hold. Ryan, that's for my boomer stock that I've been holding for probably not like Sydney there, but it's been holding for a while. Kind of having some issues around the 200-day exponential moving average. Finding some support here, kind of just trading sideways, kind of a blah stock, nothing to really go crazy about. Things can go lower here again to around 100 potentially for some support. Kind of seeing that 21 kind of being kind of potential upside support resistance there as well. So be mindful of that on that one. So you said IWM, my bad. IWM as well. So this is the Russell 2000. Yeah, Russell 2000. So I like to follow. So how do I say this? So the IWM is a more connection to the overall economy than the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, because this is going to be your smaller, I won't say smaller, like more mid-sized companies in the like U.S. based. There are some multinationals there as well, but there's going to be more companies that are more in tune to the overall U.S. market and how the U.S. is doing. That being said, it kind of is the first mover, by the first mover of like maybe a couple minutes or hours. If it starts going lower, you start seeing the S&P 500 potentially going lower, and then if that goes lower, you start seeing the NASDAQ go lower. So I kind of use this as a gauge as well. We've kind of seen this pattern before. I don't like that the 5 and 8 are crossing through the 21, but again, it's kind of been a mix-up the last couple days with the overall market as well. Potentially just being a little blah. So this could be kind of a break from what we had here. There's nothing too concerning yet. If we start seeing a break below the 50-day here on the daily chart, this could be concerning. Kind of have a price target to 128 there as well, because it really had some really issues here around the 200-day, kind of getting above and breaking through that. I do love my waste management, Ryan. Okay, now things are flying here. Thanks for everyone joining. I really do appreciate it. I love it. Let's see what we got going here. Oh, someone, makeshift player. Thank you for $3, my friend. What is that? What is that little emoji? Is that a cat or a doggy or something? That's awesome. Thank you. Disney Mouse has been a trash. Ugh, I know, Greg B. You're telling me. I've been holding it. It's been a long-term position for my portfolio forever, and anything or hits that 200-day here on the daily side, it's kind of just been failing here and kind of just going lower. Really needs that momentum going through. But again, if we go through their business, okay, their parks are not really open. I don't think they're open yet. I don't know. Their parks not open. They have like the outside restaurants and like shops are open. The cruise lines, no one's going on a cruise line. Sports are not on. That's ESPN. And none of their basically they can't show any of their movies because there's no movie theaters. But the only thing they do have is I don't know, I'm laughing because I'm losing money in them, Disney Plus, that is really holding them afloat, and I think it's kind of giving people some hope. So once this thing kind of starts turning around, I think Disney is going to be a great company. It's been around for so many years. They were able to get some really cheap debt when this kind of fell below well over $90. So I think they're going to be somewhat in good hands. Long term, I'm a huge fan of Disney there. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, we got a lot of people coming through here. Josh McDaniel, 99 cents. Thank you, my friend. You got a stock or anything you want me to look at, my friend? Let's see. Looks like I have... Oh, I do. Someone sees... Look at SHOP. Yeah, we can look at Shopee. So this is the one that, of course, has been on... Literally on a rocket ship with jet fuel. Just continue going higher here. You see that my initial price target is around 940. That's kind of what we did here with this previous swing high to low here. So I'll kind of show you this quick little fib here. Was it this one? It didn't link. Okay. Of course it didn't. There we go. So it's the kind of the swing higher. We're kind of seeing this, the 618 kind of being some overhead pressure around 228. I think the 940 was a price target for one of the analysts that kind of moved it higher there. It's still a really great performing stock, honestly. Like the thing is scary for a lot of people is like, when is this gonna start coming down? Like people are like, oh, is this that what is that game called where it's the wooden blocks, the tower, and you take turns taking a little log out, and whoever's the last one to pull it loses. Like that's kind of what people are, I think, are debating on. A lot of these stocks have just been running up like these monsters. People like potentially this could come down of that one brick because someone said that Shopify is no longer the new business and Amazon's coming in and whatever. Who knows? I just think that this has had such a large momentum. It's just kind of just taking a break up here for a potential kick higher for 950. That being said, be mindful again, the moving averages again. This is going to be a very high flyer. It's very hot. It's a lot of people are looking at this through their lenses on the stocks, looking for, if they start breaking the 5 and 8 exponential moving average around, starts getting below, let's call it 880, we could be seeing some further downside to the 21. Like we kind of saw here, it kind of had a great earnings, kind of ran up, traded sideways with the market, really around that 21. The 34 really came in for some support here as well. Again, not saying it's hard to buy something that's kind of near its all-time high. You kind of have to be a little more patient if you want to be a disciplined investor in that sense to kind of get not the perfect buy, but potential some targets going here. I don't know why I have this all the way down here. I'm going to probably put this right up here because the parabolic SAR is still below, which is great. That can kind of give it some momentum going higher. If this starts coming down to around that 820 level, 815, 820, that could be potentially an opportunity to purchase. Why buy stocks when you get buy S&P calls instead? Joe Rogan is not even on Spotify yet. Yeah, so Joe Rogan goes to Spotify, I believe, in September, his contract says, right? But he has to pull everything off YouTube. All his all the other stuff, all the other podcasts, last 10 years he's done. So it's kind of, yeah. Exactly, YOLO SPY all day, every day. Be careful out there, my friend. There is some spot rumor out there about streaming. Yeah, I saw some stuff about Spotify potentially looking at really just dominating on like the YouTube stuff. Again, like you talked about the market. 1 second, thought I saw something at the door. I didn't. I lied. With the rumor of doing some video stuff, just kind of competing with the YouTubes or the Instagrams kind of thing, of kind of really taking and making really great content around longer forms like the podcast and things like that could be really key to them. Again, these are just rumors. I think they're really building things out once they sign the Joe Rogan Experience and him. We'll see what happens. I think this stock has just gone gangbusters. It's hard to buy this again on an all-time high. Just Friday, that 21 has been really strong support again. Again, things could be shaking people out, and this can go down to that 21, which is on 215 as we speak right now. Again, that has to be a pretty large move. We are somewhat overbought here on the RSI. Volume oscillator is kind of kicking down, so this could, again, I wouldn't say spike down, but kind of could start energizing and slowing down for a potential move higher or lower. It's just been too much of a movement. So if you're in it, you're doing great. Love you. You're doing fantastic. But it starts breaking the 5 and 8 exponential moving average, especially on the short term on the daily side. Just be very careful until it takes your profits. Ryan, thanks you, Matt, for my 5Ks. Yes, that's 5K subscribers. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Ryan. I thought I just read something. Who sell them overpriced? TLT. Yeah, we can look at TLT. So TLT is one of the ETFs I like for the bond ETF. This has kind of been performing well, but again, this is usually the inverse of whatever the equities are doing. So if SPY is going higher, this is usually going lower. And if SPY is going lower, this is usually going higher. And we're kind of seeing that here represented here in the chart. It's kind of made this really strong bounce back here. Kind of had some troubles around the 21. Kind of broke through it. Kind of broke through the 50-day yesterday or on Friday for potential higher prints. That being said, just be mindful that, again, the 5 and 8 have just crossed through the 21. This could be an indication for some higher prices. Be mindful that, again, these markets can be super volatile and things can change on a dime. I have some initial price targets that I had out here from this previous move, but I kind of failed. We're actually going to move this down to like 160. Oh, what is that? 168 we do there. I kind of want to move that down as well. These usually bond markets don't move crazy, but with this volatility we've had has been, you can see here, have been absolutely gangbusters on the amount of volatility and the stuff that we've seen in this market. On the long-term side, I kind of want to look this at a longer-term side. It's kind of just still in somewhat of an upward trend. So if it starts breaking below 160, that could be a consign for the bears to go to kind of kick in and continue going lower. So be mindful of that. Usually this is like an inverse of what the S&P 500 is doing. Not a direct inverse, but yeah. Yeah, it's September. You're right, Misha. Oh shoot, I think this went away. TL2 will switch 170. Do you think it's... Yeah, I think 170 could be initial good price target, fish. But be mindful again. It's had a pretty large move. So with the futures being up $12, and the inverse of that is /ZB, kind of this is the futures for the bonds. Seeing this kind of trade the same way, we could be getting kind of coming back to the 177 level here as well. Again, this going back to the TLT, that would be around the 162 level. If the overall market kind of rallies tomorrow and J-Powell puts the special ink in his printer, we could be seeing some pretty insane movement tomorrow. Again, like we talked about in the beginning of the stream, I don't think Friday was a complete sell-off in the sense of things. It was just kind of like people getting ready for the shorter week coming out with the vacation and things like that, and they're just recalculating things and kind of moving things around. And I think a lot of people sold things preemptively into the end of the month. Average Leo trailer, you're awesome, man. Thanks. just be myself. Thoughts on AMD and FB? Oh, I'm sorry, my chat's moving too fast. What are your thoughts on AMD and FB on Monday puts? I'm not a big fan of a lot of puts, honestly. I'm actually long-term. I'm in some calls on Facebook, and I'm actually in some calls and stocks on AMD. So AMD, it kind of needs to hold $50 for me, and Facebook kind of needs to hold around that 215 level for me there. Greg B, UNH, any good? Yeah, I think I had something go off on me the other day on the alert for United Healthcare. Yeah, that's where it was. I think I had a legal alert around the 200-day exponential moving average to kind of buy in here. I really don't have too much healthcare exposure. I have a little bit of Johnson & Johnson, but for my overall longer-term portfolio, I kind of need to add something like this into it to kind of somewhat balance it out. It's just a hard time for me to buy something kind of this boring because it's not really exciting. It doesn't really move unless there's a presidential candidate and they're talking about basically just nixing this whole market. Again, with the the daily chart here, it just kind of been trading sideways, but the parabolic SAR is still above. It's really having problems kind of getting above the $300 level here. So just be mindful of that. Again, it's going to be completely kind of tied to the overall markets in the sense of how the presidential candidate. So I think since oh my gosh, Bernie Sanders is no longer in the race, this is kind of like not really of a problem in the sense of they're being completely demolished and being taken out. That being said, I kind of just see that pressure here around the $300 level, kind of trading sideways here. The volume oscillator on our side needs to start kicking higher. Potentially, if the overall market turns, we could kind of come back down to around the 200-day here as well to kind of see some potential prices around that limit here. But this parabolic net SARs need to kind of start switching to the bottom again to kind of get this momentum kicking higher there. Wow, guys, thanks to everyone for joining. This has been fantastic. Sam, A and AA. Is that Alcoa? Is this a little company? So this one looks interesting. It's kind of not holding the 34. Potentially the 50 can kind of come in, but the parabolic SCR has not broken to the downside yet. But the 5 and 8 start crossing through the 21 here. So we could be seeing, again, a nice push lower to potentially that 84.50 level. But for the bull case, we kind of need to start keeping this above here. Excuse me. And start seeing the parabolic SAR still print below it to kind of give it that onward support to continue going higher. With the volume oscillator being positive, but kind of going lower. But again, we kind of need this to kind of work out the next week or so to see how the overall market's doing. To potentially see some higher prices within all these stocks, because again, a lot of things really flushed Thursday and Friday, so be well aware of that. And what was the other one? You said AA? Oh, this is Alcoa. Okay. So this is sad. It's kind of just having problems trying to get above the 200 exponential moving average. Even before the pandemic, it's just kind of just been failing here. trying to get above that 200-day exponential moving average. Looks like it's potentially could be seeing some further downside here. Looks like earnings are on the horizon, basically 2 weeks out. Parabolic SAR is below here. This could be a lot of volume coming in Friday. This is a very interesting look at this for sure. It has broken the 21 if I'm being precise, but the 5 and 8 haven't crossed through it yet. So the charts is okay in the short term, but I don't like that earnings are kind of coming up and things could be really kind of spinny there. So I don't really want to look at that. But again, to the upside, that $14 level is really going to be some downside pressure. Hasn't really got past it. Kind of looking at it on a weekly chart. Yeah, that looks. This is a downward trending chart. I really don't want to be investing into this. Maybe a quick trade here and there, but nothing else. Josh McDaniel, not go to be bearish this week. Josh, I'm always more of a bull, honestly. I used to be a closet bear in the sense of I kind of just came out when things were okay for me to short, and I'll be coming out of my closet and be like, okay, time to short, and then I'll put the closet bear back. I've kind of got rid of that closet bear and kind of been a very, I won't say very optimistic. I'm a very optimistic person more now than I was on the bearish side, because I was always focused on what is going to be the next leg down and things like that. And after journaling and looking at my trades, I would lose more money on those downturns, even if I got the move right, but I just wasn't properly hedged at that second in time to really capture that potential profit on the downturn. So it's hard for me to kind of talk based on that. But again, for next week, if I had to choose an animal, I would say I would be more on the bull side. Justin, thoughts on IBIO? Yeah, I don't know what this does. This is looks like some kind of tied to some kind of pharmacy or something. Nothing really to add there. Sorry, my friend. Yeah, thank you, my friend. Oh, right, my chat just did update it again. Oh, my lovely chat. Look, oh my gosh, I got 160 people here. What? I love popcorn. All right, looks like we have M. McConnell, JP Morgan. Yeah, we do JPM. We haven't done any banks, actually. We kind of talked about it at the beginning. Are banks failing? Question mark. I don't know. Question mark. Looking again, kind of failed here at the 200-day. I have a price alert here if it starts breaking above this again. Kind of been falling here. Not falling like a crazy knife here through wet snow or cold snow. Yeah, anyways. But again, with the 5 and 8 kind of crossing through the 21, it's kind of breaking all these moving averages to the way down. Not really the greatest sign. We can kind of look at some initial support again around the 88 level. Even though, since earnings, this sounds crazy, earnings season is going to start kicking off soon again. So we're going to be seeing a lot of movement coming through. So bank stocks are usually, or they are, not usually, they are the first larger cohort to go into earnings. So they kind of somewhat paint a pretty picture. Sometimes they paint an ugly picture on the overall market. So with JP Morgan, again, I don't know the fundamentals of a lot of the banks on how much deposits they have, what the dividend payout ratio is, and all that jazz that I really don't honestly care about. But the thing is like, are they giving out loans? Is mortgage loans going up? Are people spending more? Are the amount of people in their savings account going up, going down, or overdraft fees have doubled in the last 2 years? Things like that. That kind of helps me gauge on the overall economy. Especially the larger banks like Bank of America give you a really nice pulse on the overall what's going on. And they're one of the largest, I believe now, with deposits. That being said, so if you want to rob a bank, Bank of America is the largest. I'm just joking. Please don't rob a bank. With the 5 and 8 exponential moving average kind of crossing through here, potentially this could be somewhat of some stoppage down here around 92 to 90 level, but I kind of see more of like a 90-ish level potentially. Oh, I looked at the wrong chart. A 90-ish level here with this kind of gap up that we had previously. So the 90-ish level potentially for some support, or around to the 89, 88 level for some downward support. But again, with the overall markets kind of being up 10 points is not really like something to write home about with the futures market right now. It really needs to be up substantially higher. This could just be like a dead cat bounce, and things can roll over without a doubt. I think Monday, Tuesday, things are still going to be red. Then they're going to start seeing some people potentially start buying, doing air quotes, buying the dip here Monday, Tuesday, on adding to some of the stocks they've been looking at, having price alerts out and things like that. So with JP Morgan, when it starts getting below 88, 89, I'll be there with anyone else potentially selling some puts around this level. Bank stocks will do great with negative rates. I don't think we're going to go negative rates. I'm going to be optimistic on that. Ryan Ling, my bank called and offered me a refinance mortgage interest rates at all-time low. Yeah, I've got the same stuff where you get the stuff in all the spam in the mail. Hey, we're just you can refinance your home and get a lower rate and lower your monthly things like that. But we'll see. I think the bank stocks they're really hard for me to fundamentally understand on how they make money. But that being said, we'll see what happens. I'm going to be more optimistic. Beyond Beat Up. Are you saying Beyond Meat? We can look up Beyond Meat. Actually, it's on my buy list, actually, or my long list. Give me a second. There we go. My chair was moving on me. So again, with Beyond Meat, it's kind of been on my radar for potential buy. I think that this whole new plant-based meat products, you're going to see it kind of come into fruition. You're going to see it probably on more restaurants with the Impossible Meat, and then of course the Beyond Meat burger or their sausages. I think this trend's going to be here to stay, for lack of better words. Kind of having some hard couple days here with Beyond Meat. The 34 is kind of coming in for some initial support here around 141. I'm looking for potential prices and picking up some stock around 133 potentially to kind of see how it trades. With the 5 and 8 kind of potentially could be crossing through the 21, we could be seeing some potential downside even further, because again, this thing moves quite drastically with the volatility of the market. Again, this stock was $240. I think, what is that? 3 weeks into its IPO, so it kind of has some baggage on it, lack of better words, and it kind of needs to kind of shake that off. And I think we've kind of shooken off all those little weak hands, and potentially will be a nice long-term hold there. SHLL. I have nothing to add to SHLL. I just don't know what's going on with these things here. Alright, chat is really blowing up here. It's an L shape. L for loser. Let's see what happens here. Oh, there's a selling contract, sell stock, bank stocks, your deposits overnight, and make billions overnight on your deposit funds. Ingenious. I know, like the banking sector is just so like it's literally a black hole to me, honestly, of just like, so I'm giving you my money, but if I wanted my money right now, you can't give it. It's just a very strange thing. We'll see how it goes. Let's see here. SPY, go all in on SPY. GDX MU. SPY is lagging down and already breaking down. AAL. We can look at AAL just for the laughs. So American Airlines Group kind of been really beaten down again with a lot of people who got into this stock. Basically, a lot of them being first-time investors, just kind of buying the dip with the overall market. Had a absolutely monster run up. Kind of failed here at the 200-day exponential moving average. Kind of made like a dead cat bounce kind of thing, where it kind of went up to like the 50% retracement. So what I mean by that is you take the previous swing high down to the low, and it literally hit. How did that? Okay, yeah, it literally hit. Is that the 50? Yeah, it literally hit the 50% retracement there. Failed, and then continue going down, and now kind of finding support around the 200 or the 50-day. Again, we on the daily chart, the 50 days considered the value investor. The 50 and the 200-day are usually when the value investors kind of come in, depending on which one falls in first. But just be mindful of that. I'm really not a fan of this. This could potentially going down lower with the 5 and 8 just crossing through the 21. We can see some lower prices potentially coming in, unless again we magically just get a virus cure. Yeah, MU has earnings tomorrow, which I wouldn't. If you know me, I don't trade earnings, especially on options. They can be really, really scary unless I'm just selling some puts and things like that. Really far out of the money puts or calls, depending on what my overall decision is. With this one, the 200-day with MU has been really key on potentially just kind of trading sideways here. We've broken above the 200-day, now kind of just tapped it a couple times on the way down. Nothing too drastic again, but with the 5 and 8 start crossing through the 21. And earnings coming out, again, earnings is that complete coin flip on the sense of what could happen. Again, the move for the week is basically $4 plus or minus. So we could easily come back down to around the 43-ish level if all things go bad for them as well. I really don't have too much insights on it. Again, with earnings coming out, it's really much of a coin flip. So you kind of have to wait and see what happens here. I wouldn't say MU puts. Again, I don't like to bet or waste my money on earnings plays, especially. I really don't want to be. If you're in it, again, what was your overall intent for the stock or the options to be able to get out or in? If you're longer term, you're going to have a little bit more of the trading around that. Again, with that 200 day, it's going to be really key there. But the 50 days kind of start trying to cost through the 200 day as well, so that could be a nice little onslaught. Work. We can look at work. Yes. So this is Slack. So this has kind of been. This is actually one I did play earnings on, just to kind of prove a point on one of the live streams that we did. And I think I sold the 34 put, which is around like where the 21 would be. But it kind of went past it. I would have been okay if I held it. Looks like it's kind of somewhat came back just slightly from this overall huge downtick from the earnings. Again, they're kind of getting creamed, lack of better words, from Microsoft, that the wonderful teams that they have, and just kind of been really just sideswiped and not really being able to kind of get ahead. And now they're kind of partnering with, I believe it was Amazon, to try to make it a better platform and really kind of integrate it into some of the better products. So we'll see. Like, again, their pricing model is a little strange on for what I've seen, in the sense of basically it being free, and if you want a couple features, to unlock, you need to pay for it, and it goes from there. You're gonna flip the coin. Nice. Good luck for you. Good luck. 185 watching. Let's go. Nice. Thank you, Ryan, for all the motivation. I really do appreciate it. Can you look at CHMA? They got FDA approval last week. Yeah, I can look at that, Otis. I'm not too familiar with the pharmaceutical companies as I used to be. What do they get FDA approval for? I can definitely see that they got some kind of approval with this huge movement here. Again, those pharmaceutical stocks, they're usually completely dormant, and once again people figure out they're having FDA approval, or they're going to find out that clinical trials are opening up from phase 1 to phase 2, and it's great stuff, things can really go flying. For me, this one kind of looks like the 21 needs to kind of come in. The 34 has been some onslaught support, but this huge movement candlestick here kind of scares me, and I really don't want to be touching it, even though I understand that it has FDA approval or whatever. I don't even know what the company does. If they can get rid of my cotton mouth, that'd be great. Constantly, I've been talking for 90 or 8. Oh my god, an hour and 40 minutes, and I need something to help me. Maybe I should drink like some kind of tea or something like that, but we'll see. With this one, I can't really add too much to it. I apologize, my friend. Even though it's kind of just going to be completely tied to its potential movement in the FDA approval trial, or whatever they do. Growth hormone disorder. Okay. So it's like a very finite tune thing. Yeah. Again, I think it looks like it's kind of had a nice little rebound, but the overall market has kind of a nice rebound. Even previously to that over its downturn, it's kind of just been trading sideways. So I guess it could come back down to a certain level and kind of just build a base. It could be kind of building a base around the 21 here or the 34 and kind of just trading in around that the $6 to $7 range until the next shoe drops or another clinical trial just goes great. SPLITE, yeah, we do. Yeah, this is I like this one because I like this. Clear, the 200-day exponential moving average has been ongoing support, and huge volume kind of coming in here buying this, the movement and the downturn of Friday. We kind of need it to start breaking above $80. We've kind of seen some kind of resistance up here previously, like 2 weeks ago, having a hard time kind of break above the $200 or the $80 limit here to potentially kick higher with this parabolic SAR. The volume oscillator is really through the roof because that's due to this huge, I don't know why I just made that weird noise, volume kind of coming in here. And basically, their first level of support and really strong support is going to be around 71 to 70. That's around the 200-day exponential moving average there. Fastly, we kind of covered that. I can't really touch that. It's just been flying up like a rocket. SHL can't add anything to that as well. It's just that's just a complete momentum-driven stock, and again, making an all-time high just the other day. It's just everything on the chart is just saying overbought. But again, when a high momentum stock happens like this, everything just kind of turns red, and it's really hard to kind of gauge. It's just an unknown territory, lack of better words. CD Music Group, you are the best YouTuber ever. Wow, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Did we do Microsoft already? No, we did not. We can look at Microsoft. Let's look at Microsoft. So Microsoft is a company I love and adore. It's just been nice, steady Eddie. It's got really growth to it because I like the new CEO. The new CEO, not really new, he's been there for a while. Satya Nadella has just been as a developer, and he's a coder. He understands the technical side. He's not a sales guy, so that's what I like about that. Microsoft needed him really badly. Again, with the overall market downturn we've had the past 2 days, kind of looking for support around the 192. We kind of see the parabolic SAR here kind of coming in for support around 195, potentially kind of holding this pattern here. If the overall market can kind of just start kind of tread water and continue maybe going higher, we could see some potential moves higher as well. But with this one, be mindful again. Microsoft kind of just trades on its own slightly, and kind of makes its own its own little wake in the market. It is tied again to a lot of the SP 500 and ETF driven stocks, but I think that this is just a really well proven stock, and it has just so many different components that it can just compete against nearly anyone. That's my overall long term view. Again, if it's coming down to the 21 to 34, the last couple months has been performing very well there. Ryan, yes, I used to be a closet bear. Sometimes I still am. Sometimes I can get pretty negative on some stocks. Let's see here. Christopher Lee, we did Beyond Meat, so I'll give you a quick little recap. The only reason why I'll do Beyond Meat again is because I've been watching it as well. Really looking for if the 5 and 8 can start crossing through the 21. We could see some potential further downside. I'm really kind of having some support here. The 34 slightly kind of coming in here. We kind of need to see what happens for the rest of the week into next week to see how this goes out. Long term, I kind of want to get into the stock and just get into this overall market, because I think that the faux meat or the vegetable or these non-meat products are really kind of the future. You started seeing it on a lot of menus, a lot of offerings. So I think once they get more research, it's really going to be becoming the next meat. And all the problems that we had with all our meat processing and packaging plants with the outbreak has just kind of shown that we really need a substitution to a lot of protein and meat. So even if I can't eat my favorite hamburger with cheese on it, I need something else to replace that ASAP. You know what I'm saying? So again, I would love to buy this. You kind of see my alert here at 133 to potentially start building a position here. I don't know if I'm going to get there. We're just kind of have to recalibrate it and kind of look on where it goes there. Kelly D, GoPro. I have nothing to add on GoPro. I'll give you a little story time for everyone here. Late time story time. So I traded this son of a gun when it first came out. All right, it was right around Christmas time in 2015. I bought it and I was like, this is going to the moon. This is going to be the number one item under everyone's tree. Everyone wants to buy this. Blah 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 blah. I think it hit around almost $100. And it starts coming down right before Christmas. And I said, So I actually got out of it, luckily for a profit. And then ever since then, it never got up to $74. And this thing just tells you a picture. Just been trading lower. Now it's at $4.55. I have nothing to add to GoPro. I'm not saying it's a terrible stock. Some of their devices are great. It's just not. Doesn't have the fancy story anymore. It's not really nothing too crazy. Your iPhone can do basically everything that GoPro does, lack of better words. Again, I'm not an extreme snowboarder or skateboarder, so I don't really need that. Because again, when I talk about stories like GoPro, everything does fall down. Rome fell, so does GoPro. Or apples and bananas. things will fall. Like there wasn't a secret sauce to their recipe, and a lot of people just came in and just really took a lot of market share away. That's what I honestly think would happen. But Godspeed to GoPro. Makeshift player, have you ever tried to work for a prop firm? I have, and I got denied. Because they wanted me to move to New York City. Well, I think you have to move to New York City. I was like, nah. And probably they didn't want me anyway, because I'd probably be too annoying to them. What is your go-to defensive stock? I don't really have a defensive stock. It would probably be. I always just look what Apple's doing, and Apple's like the number one like stock that drives a lot of things. I want to call it my defensive stock. I really like ATM. This is the American Tower. This is my defensive stock sometimes, due to the fact of between this, like your Walmart or Amazon, like not many people are going to be getting rid of their Amazon stuff. But since Amazon's tied to so many different things now, like huge AWS business and really getting into so many different things, it's be very mindful of that. But yeah, Amazon, some of these other, I don't know why I just listed a bunch of A stocks. For sure, is basically that. Kind of my gauge of what you mean by. Another one that I kind of like is Johnson & Johnson for my defensive stock. It's actually one of my largest positions between Johnson & Johnson and Waste Management in my long-term portfolio. They have just been a steady Eddie, lack of better words. Again, the daily chart doesn't do it justice here. We start going to the weekly chart. Again, it pays a dividend. Everyone's going to need Band-Aids. Everyone needs their trash picked up. This is just the basic necessities of life. Rip Apple. Hey, let's see here. Rip Intel. Ryan, I see what you did there. You're long AMD. You're just going to give the middle finger to Intel. M-Stone Piton in this year's GoPro. Honestly, M-Stone, like, I wouldn't say I disagree. I don't know what their secret sauce is as well. Like, it's just again, I'm a simple guy, and I think it's just a really expensive indoor cycling stationary bike with an iPad on it. Like, on their screen, you can't even Google anything. Like, it's just an expensive iPad attached to a $2,000 bike. Is it worth it? Like, I think it's kind of worth it now because all the people that pay the $50, $60 for their spin classes are really enjoying it. It's hard for me to put a price onto it. We'll see what happens. Like, it is, I won't say overvalued yet. You start seeing it's at 75 RSI. This can continue printing higher. I think this could kind of go somewhat more parabolic. I want to look at this. I want to see if this kind of hits the 200% move. Let's see here real fast. Yeah, so initially this could go parabolic, and the previous swing high to low, we could be seeing potentially price targets around 67 for some very basic fib analysis there for those higher prices. And I kind of wanted to do this as well. No, wrong, my bad. Yeah, that's more to the downside. I'm getting kind of tired here. Sorry, guys. With Piton, I have nothing really to add there. It's, again, all-time high on Friday. If you look here on the weekly chart, we did trade this. What was this? Around this move here, we kind of got into around the 200-day once it kind of broke above here, around 25. Really rode up to the 36 level, kind of got out of it. Should have held on more because it kind of held at 21 and kind of start rocketing higher after its earnings as well. Been a really good performer there. With, again, kind of holding that 21, it really needs, if you really wanted to go crazy short and just wanted to be a negative Nancy on Piton, you need to kind of let it show it to you more. You need that 5 and 8 start leveling off and potentially start crossing to the 21. Because you can kind of see here in the past couple months, it hasn't really broken and closed below 21. So once that starts happening, people can get scared and they could wash them out and kind of get those really weak hands. Again, it could be a staircase higher and then an elevator lower. A-Town, what do you think of W this week? Yeah, Wayfair. Man, I got the amount of emails I got from Wayfair. I bought like 2 items from them like in the last year or something like that. And the amount of emails I get from them is absolutely astonishing. With Wayfair, again, I think this is kind of, I won't say here to stay, but a lot of people don't want to go out to go shopping, and especially they can go at home and just peruse through their iPad. Again, they can't use the iPad on the Piton bike, but they can use it on their real iPad. Really needs to start breaking the 21 if you want the puts. It hasn't really closed below 21 ever since really this pandemic has really taken off. It's really just kind of opened up a new channel for a lot of people to get their fix on making their house pretty. Again, with so many people being at home, they're investing more into their house. They're like, hey, you know what, Daryl? I think we need to get some drapes over this window over here. Oh, you know what, honey? I think we need to fix all the little plastic things and the inside of the whatever, or we need to get a new shelf over here. I think this is kind of the new trend, like between like Wayfair, Home Depot, Lowe's. People are investing in their house and kind of making it more of a nicer place to be than rather just going out on vacations and expending money on other various things. Dev, we did discuss Facebook. We can look at Facebook again since there was a pretty large downturn here. For Facebook, I really just wanted to hold around the 215 to 212 level. It starts breaking that with some more downside. We did see a lot of volume on Friday. Not saying it's going to be a magical day here, but it could come back down to $200 as well, which I would like to nibble some more there to potentially build my position into it. That being said, just be mindful that it has a large downturn again. This has been a really hot falling knife with, imagine this is like a dagger that has lemon juice on it, some sriracha and some jalapeno sauce on it, and you're just trying to catch it with 2 hands, and it could really hurt initially, but we'll see what happens. Ryan, Ken, could we do a face reveal at 10K? Ryan, if I revealed my face, this 10K will turn into negative 10K in a heartbeat. Maybe, who knows? If I was going to run to the hills. I think I'm a good looking guy. Apocalypse 2.0, yeah. Well, again, I think we talked about this a little bit, in the sense of, hey, Facebook has dealt with this ad stuff for quite some time. It's kind of like they get beaten down, they take it on the chin a little bit, they take their vitamins and their vitamins, and they continue going higher. Simon G, which MTF squeeze indicator is that? Does it work with lower time frames like 1 minute? It does. I don't like to use 1 minute charts, Simon. So I don't really look at it. What do you mean by MTF? Do you mean by these little flags up here? I normally, again, I think it can get it customized to MTF, but I think I purchased these from Simpler Trading. I think I did. I haven't looked into it. Simpler Trading is a coaching service. If you do check them out, they're good. It's a little pricey, but if you want to learn options, there's a couple good guys over there. They're all good, but depending on how you look at the markets, your viewpoints, the main guy, JT, JC, sorry, John Carter, is the individual who created the TTM squeeze down here, who uses the Bollinger and Keltner channels to kind of do that. Oil tankers. Now, yeah, we can look at oil tankers. So, I don't know if you guys recall, I did a video on NAT, and I said when I saw this, we can do another story time. We'll do another story time here. So, with NAT, this is a short-term story. It kind of just happened. When I saw all these individuals getting in on this boat, lack of a better words, aka oil tanker, and the volume coming up here, and seeing something that was trading basically $3 up to $9 within a month, and understanding somewhat of how oil supply works and things like that, I called BS, and I made a video saying I'm shorting it at $8 or whatever. Basically, kind of didn't get shorted until like 6 something. Really kind of just came down. Initially had my price target breaking the 21 around $5. Did it, got out, got a little bit more slightly a couple days later, and got out as well. I got a lot of flack for it because we had all these experts who knew everything about oil tankers, and because they watched 1 or 2 videos on whatever, and they saw what was it, Nordic American Tanker CEO on Jim Cramer saying that it's the best business ever. Sure, that's great, whatever. I'm not going to listen to... if you know anything about oil tanker stocks, they're very much a trading business. They're very cyclical. They're not a long-term bet. So they're very capital heavy. I don't want to talk bad about them. I'm just saying that within the trading community, their stereotype is they're just like FOMO materials. They happen, they spike every couple years, and then it kind of go down. So we can kind of go here back to like a monthly chart. So I actually traded this. I traded this actually on my honeymoon, I believe. Actually, I think I did. Yeah, I traded this on my honeymoon. It wasn't one of it was around like in 2015, where the oil tankers took another huge spike higher, as you can see here. Yeah, it was like October. I was trading this sucker. Again, if these story times are boring, please let me know in the comments. I'll stop them. But traded this again with the NAT stuff. Again, this has an overall pattern of like going higher and then lower, going higher and then lower. Like it's not well defined, but it's kind of like a rectangle, then goes straight down, goes rectangle, goes straight down, in the sense of just like the overall go-to for a lot of people who trade this, again, is it's a trade. It's not a long-term bet. If I bought it way back here at $56, like I'm losing money. Yes, it pays a dividend, but there's nothing there. Like it's not a really well-placed long-term bet. So be mindful of that. Johnny, thank you. Thank you for putting all those tickers together. I really do appreciate it. I really do. It means a lot. I think if you guys got any more tickers left, I'm getting kind of tired here. It's 11 o'clock here, Eastern Standard Time, and I need to get some stuff done in the morning. So thank you everyone for coming out. Holy moly, this has been a really great live stream here for sure. Potentially going to be doing a live stream sometimes, probably during market hours. Potentially we can maybe do one tomorrow or Tuesday, depending on what people like. I might put a poll out on the channel to see what people want to do. I usually like to do like a live stream between like 3 to 4 during market hours, and we'll see on how that goes. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any comments or questions, you can put them on the comments section within this video. Should be going live in a little bit. You can also just jump over to the Discord. You can go to the questions tab and give us some questions, and I can look at the questions, and of course can answer them, lack of a better words. So we'll see If you have any comments or questions, you can go there for sure. Also, we have a Patreon page if you want to join that. That directly supports the channel without a doubt. The Discord is, of course, absolutely free. But I really do appreciate everyone coming out. I really hope that folks got to learn something today, educated themselves. Again, the journey of trading and investing will never end. It's just a constantly ongoing journey for sure. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Thank you for everyone coming out. Coolest dad ever. You're welcome, Ryan. You know I love you. Gil. Yeah, we'll do another one tomorrow. I think we'll do another one tomorrow. Totally. We did Microsoft. We kind of wanted to hold around 195. If it starts breaking below that, it could be getting around to the 221 exponential moving average. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to be ending it here. I'm going to be signing off, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be safe, and catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.